What is leadership? Welcome to Philosopher's Corner. I'm John. What is leadership? Standard definition is someone in an elected office or position of leadership. But philosophically, like, what is leadership? It's a naturally occurring phenomenon. It doesn't matter if it's in the human world or in the animal world. Leaders emerge, and leaders emerge not just within particular small groups to accomplish tasks, but they also emerge in the macro. They emerge in species. They emerge all over the place. And like for instance, lions take leadership of species of animals in their natural habitats, right? So leadership, when we're looking at it as a phenomenon for our inquiry, for the beginning of it, we realize that it's a necessary component of life because it happens wherever we look. Now, in the human world, let's examine that further. Why does it emerge? Well, it emerges around usually problem solving, right? So there's leadership implies that there's a sociological structure around which leadership is occurring, where a leader is involved. So that already implies that it's a leadership's a social construct. Because if a person or being is just taking themselves around and doing things, they can be leading themselves, but it doesn't fall necessarily into the category of the discussion of leadership. Leadership implies that there's a group that is under the guidance of an individual or individuals. And we find that that not only happens in human life, but it happens in the animal realm. So sociological groups come together for reasons. There's different principles involved with being the catalyst of a sociological organization coming around and forming around an attempt to problem solve whatever the thing is, and then a leader or leaders emerging within that group who seem best poised to orchestrate the events, information, logistics, operations that are required to oversee the group and conduct the group, going from a point of not having the problem solved to having the problem solved and points in between. And what that necessarily requires of the leader is a vision for that process, for that particular group, for that particular world. And then the leader, based on the nature of the situation, the nature of the group, all of the circumstances, the contexts, whatever the goal is, the resources, all that, then the leader is going to need a certain amount of capabilities and skills in order to enact their part as a member of the group. A leading member of the group is still a member of the group in order to achieve the vision that they're sharing with everyone. So really the essential aspect of the leader seems to be in this analysis that they have vision, and that vision is harmonious and agreed upon or somehow understood by the organization that the leader is leading. So obviously communication is probably their number one most important skill as a leader. Well, be able to have the vision is the number one most important thing. And when we look throughout any kind of examples of leadership, we can clearly see that when a leader does not have a vision, and yet they're still attempting to remain in the position of power of the leader, that it doesn't go well. Because if they don't have a vision, they can't accomplish anything. In fact, the position only really naturally evolves and requires a leader because there is a vision that needs to be seen in order to solve the problem for the group. And the nature of that can be small or it can be epic. It can be that we want to, it's a bunch of 10-year-olds and they want to have a lemonade stand on the corner on a Saturday to sell some lemonade. And somebody says, oh, I know how to do that. And they like rattle off like, well, I know the spot and I know the mix and, my parents have cups and yeah, we can do it. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, cool. That makes sense. And they listen to that person and they go, oh yeah, I get the vision for that. And then everybody's working. And then anything the leader might do from that point forward is just to keep everybody sort of moving towards that goal. Whatever the communications are, whatever the time they spend with them, whatever they do say, whatever they don't say, all that. And in terms of determining if the leader is good or not, or grading them out, you look at them from that perspective. Is number one, is the leader getting the vision accomplished? Number two, are they doing it in a way that has the approval of the group they're leading? Are they all happy with the journey along the way? Do they understand to the best of their ability what they're attempting to accomplish? Do they feel like their rights as the individual are still being respected and attended to in a utilitarian manner while they accomplish the group goals, thus making it a moral and eventually, well, that makes it a moral operation. So if the rights of the individuals are respected, rights, the goals of the group are being served, the leader is carrying out a clear vision that everyone, to the best of their ability, understands, and it's a true vision, and it's arising out of the needs of the group. And then we have the ingredients for good leadership. So obviously, it doesn't matter what the nature of what the constitution of the leader is, or the group, or the problem. In terms of, it's infinite. It could be any leader, any group, any issue. Now, in terms of what makes a good leader, what are the moral values that leader has to lead the group? You can say, well, there's a difference between what's a good leader and what's an effective leader, right? Because a good leader, as I'm outlining it, is making moral choices, transparently moral choices for the good of both the individuals comprising the group and of the group as a whole. And when I say that doesn't mean that everything's going to go like super great for everybody in the group, because some groups get together and they need to problem solve like survival issues, and they already know like that part of the group isn't going to make it. And so certain groups are comprised of people who understand that there's potentially engaging with the group to achieve this objective isn't necessarily going to see them through to it. Like, they may come to personal harm, or it doesn't guarantee their happiness, it doesn't guarantee their safety. The nature of some groups and their leader are such that that's an acceptable risk within the group. So you can't judge a leader on, oh, does the leader make every single person super happy? Unless that's the actual aim of the group. If the group is a let's all be happy group, then the leader does have to make sure that's the case. But if the leader is in charge of shepherding the group to achieve a vision that's a realistic one that incurs some sorts of unavoidable risk, then the leader can't be held accountable for. It's not a downgrade of the leader if the group isn't 100% happy or 100% safe in the accomplishment during the journey to the goal, because sometimes that's an assumed risk. The job of the leader is to make sure that the risks are transparent, so that before the leading can begin in earnest, everyone's been apprised of their rights and of the risks and of what the general vision is. And then from that point forward, you just hope that the leader is of a high moral character, so that when they're distributing the power, when they're embodying the power and using it, they're hopefully using it for what they told you they were going to, and to help the group achieve a goal and realize a vision. Yeah, I graduated from West Point in '98, and I served on active duty in the Army for 7 years, and just continued to be a leader in my community, and just till this day. And I can boil all of it down in terms of what West Point trained me into just one sentence. All the leadership lessons came down to: officers eat last. So you put everybody's needs in the group above yourself as the leader, and and that helps everything. It helps you be true to people. It helps you manage the resources correctly. It helps you be honest with people, and it helps you be empathetic to who you're in charge with, and it makes accountability happen for the leader as you go through any step of the process. The officers eat last. That way, if you didn't bring enough, if you didn't plan out the kitchen well enough during the mission, and all your troops have eaten, and I'm the last guy in line, I'm going to find out if I manage the food supply properly. And that's the best way to do it for any mode of leadership. Officers eat last. You have to put your people and their needs ahead of you, and that puts you on the best footing to have an honest relationship when you ask them to do extraordinary things as a group, or do self-sacrifice, or all sorts of things. It really creates a bond, a proper bond of, yes, I'm in this with you too. I'm not just because I'm in charge, and leadership does have an amount of power because of the attention and the responsibility it has. That is a benefit unto itself to be the leader, to feel that, because you get extra energy, and you get people's attention, and you get people caring, and you get access to resources, and that can make you detached from the people that you're leading. And so if you have this officers eat last mentality, it can cut through all that and make you empathetically, emotionally connected, and people can feel that sort of accountability and that sort of transparency. And that's really, in my experience, that's what people really respect from their leaders: a vision, accountability, good morals. So leadership, it's a naturally occurring phenomenon. When groups feel the need to solve a problem, and I say solve a problem, but it could mean anything. It could mean throw a birthday party, survive in the wild, have a day at a waterside park, figure out world peace, run an economy, do military stuff. It doesn't really matter. But when a group comes together to solve a problem and achieve a vision, leadership positions are naturally born. They're acquired, so that a person can be the dissemination point for the vision, and depending on their skill level, delegate the tasks necessary to achieve the vision. And the way a leader can really optimize their efficiency of leadership is to hold themselves accountable, transparent, communicate to their group, and put the needs of their group ahead of their own. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for spending some time here at Philosopher's Corner, and I hope you have fun.